Welcome into WagerTalk TV alongside Andy Lang and Tony Mejia of WagerTalk.com. I'm Meghan Payton. We're here to preview Monday Night Football. The Baltimore Ravens head to the Big Easy to take on the New Orleans Saints. Ravens are a 2.5-point favorite. The total is at 48. Are the Saints turning things around? They shut down the Raiders 24-0 last week. This offense is really going through running back Alvin Kamara, who had 3 touchdowns last week. He's the heart of this offense as the Saints wait for wide receiver Mike Thomas to get back, wide receiver Jarvis Landry to get back. They're going to be going up against a Ravens team that's 5-3, that statistically speaking has been better offensively than New Orleans, yet they'll be without star wide receiver Rashad Bateman dealing with a foot injury. Ravens might also be without tight end Mark Andrews, foot and shoulder. He is questionable. We're filming this on Wednesday. Tony, I'll jump to you first. Ravens, Saints, Monday Night Football. What's the play here?
Well, I mean, it's a huge game for Baltimore because if you win this game, you go into your bye on a high. You get yourself healthy. Mark Andrews, like you mentioned, he tried to get out there with Bateman the other night, and Gus Edwards was out as well, and they weren't able to go, so they went with the beat squad, and they handled the Tampa Bay Bucks on a Thursday night with Kenyon Drake toting the rock, and then you had Isaiah Likely, the pride of Coastal Carolina, catching passes and filling Andrews' shoes, and obviously with Lamar Jackson running the show. So now they face a Saints defense that really dominated the Raiders. I mean, Las Vegas didn't even cross midfield until there were 2 minutes left in the game. They got Derek Carr pulled. It was just the worst performance I've seen offensively from any team this year, and New Orleans had a lot to do with that. So, and on the Baltimore side, still with a lot of injuries, including on defense, but now you add Roquan Smith to the equation, NFL's leading tackler. They're really excited about having him. Huge game for both teams. I would think that defense rules the night on Monday night, so the under would be my play.
Again, we'll see quarterback Andy Dalton as the starter for New Orleans. He improved last week. He's averaging a 95.1 passer rating, no interceptions last week against the Raiders. Andy, any player props that you're looking out for Ravens versus Saints?
Well, you said it. Alvin Kamara receiving all day in this matchup. Listen to these numbers last 4 games with Andy Dalton at quarterback for Kamara. 28 catches for 268 yards. That's an average of 7 catches for 67 yards per game. Dalton loves throwing it to Kamara, and Kamara has been fantastic yards after the catch. Last game, Baltimore played Tampa. Fournette and Rachaad White combined for 6 catches for 58 yards. So if those two can combine for 6 catches and 58 yards, I'll definitely be riding with Kamara in the passing game. If I'm looking at receptions, I need a total less than 6, hoping to get that at 5.5. Maybe we get lucky and get 4.5. We're recording this on Wednesday, so the lines aren't out yet. But if I get a receiving total less than 55, I'll be taking Alvin Kamara. That's the one I'm very, very excited about. He and Andy Dalton have a really nice connection. Dalton uses him a lot, uses him effectively. So give me Kamara in the receiving game.
It's a good thing New Orleans decided not to trade Alvin Kamara. We're going to be seeing Ravens and Saints Monday Night Football. How about Baltimore averaging 26 points per game? How about New Orleans shutting down a Raiders team who was averaging over 28 points per game prior to coming into Week 8? Andy, Tony, we appreciate you here at Wager Talk. Great stuff from them as always. More of their content at WagerTalk.com as well as on Twitter. Andy is at Bump Sports and Tony is at Mejia Dinero. All of this on Twitter, WagerTalk.com. We thank you for listening and more stuff coming up for NFL Week 9. Welcome into Wager Talk TV alongside Andy Lang and Tony Mejia of WagerTalk.com. I'm Meghan Payton. Week 9 is here. The Tampa Bay Bucks and the Los Angeles Rams will face off at 4:25 p.m. Eastern. Bucks 3-point favorites, total at 42.5. These two teams have been very disappointing. Rams sitting at 3-4, Bucks at 3-5. Neither team can get a run game going whatsoever. They're bottom in the league in rushing yards per game. Yeah, I feel like this could be a game for Tampa to kind of show themselves again. Despite their offense struggling, they're still 5th in passing yards per game. Their defense still 6th in points allowed per game. Tony, I'll come to you first. Cooper Kupp, the Rams' star wide receiver, coming back from that tissue swelling ankle injury. He's expected to play. What's your play here for Rams versus Bucks?
Yeah, it sounds like Cooper Kupp is playing, and as we speak, I'm looking at an alert that says Cam Akers not ruled out, which is strange considering that he told them basically I'd like not to play for you anymore after he wasn't traded at the deadline. So yeah, man, that's a cluster. You know what going on there? The running back situation. Darrell Henderson hasn't been getting touches either. But at the same time, how can you trust the Bucks? I mean, they've lost 5 of 6. You know that they struggle their interior line, and they get to face that monster that is Aaron Donald. This is an NFC Championship preview that's probably not to be, but it's still early in the season. We still got more games left than have been played. We just need these teams to step up and become the teams that we anticipated them being. And injuries have been obviously a huge part of Tampa's issues. Their secondary is decimated. The Rams, their offensive line has been a problem since day one. This could be a situation. To me, I think the play might be, that Matthew Stafford and Tom Brady are going to do their best to minimize mistakes. They know what's in front of them. They know that right now the defenses that they'll be seeing are better than their offenses. So this could be a conservative game plan, maybe a first half under, maybe a full game under. I saw it was 42.5. But yeah, certainly, we'll see what the Rams bring to the table. Obviously, it's very important to have Cooper Kupp out there. I don't even think that they can crack double digits if he's unable to go with the ankle.
Look, the Bucks can't get the run going. They also can't shut down the run. Maybe a reason why we might see a little bit more out of running back Cam Akers. Potentially, this is his comeback story for the Los Angeles Rams, who did nothing with him during the trade deadline. Andy, what's your approach for Rams versus Bucks?
Well, we see once again that off-field issues kind of affect Tom Brady, and it's been a pretty bad year for him. But what's crazy is the stats-wise, he's kind of been getting it done, and I'm going to keep looking at his over for passing yards. He's had 290 passing yards or more in 4 out of 5 games. The running game, it's getting worse as the season goes on, and it's pretty obvious they're just going to let him sit back there and throw. He's had 40 or more pass attempts in 6 straight games. A couple times he's gotten over 50 pass attempts, and the Rams' numbers for the year, on paper, they look good, as they have not allowed a ton of passing yards. But they had a game against Cooper Rush where he threw for 106 yards in a game that the Rams lost. They had a game against the Panthers where P.J. Walker and Jacob Eason combined for 110 yards. They faced Jimmy G twice and Marcus Mariota. So they have not faced these really good quarterbacks. I think those numbers are very deceiving for the Rams. And I think Godwin is getting better as the season goes on. Mike Evans is healthy. And the Buccaneers want to throw the ball. So as bad as Tampa Bay has looked, and sometimes Tom is seeing throwing the ball right into the ground, I'm going to go with him over his passing yards. This number is, we're recording this on Wednesday. The number's not out yet. But if it's anything 285 or less, I'm going to be taking the over on Tom Brady. That's the way I'll approach this game.
It wasn't long ago we were watching these two teams battle it out in the divisional round. Rams go on to win and then win the Super Bowl. We thought they sent Tom Brady into retirement. There might be a little bit of fire under Brady, as you said, a lot of personal issues going on off the field. I expect Brady to kind of come back. I'm hoping so. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Tony. Great stuff from you, as always. More from them on WagerTalk.com, as well as on Twitter, at Mejia Dinero and at Bump Sports for Andy. More NFL Week 9 previews coming your way here on WagerTalk TV. Welcome into WagerTalk TV. Alongside Andy Lang and Tony Mejia of WagerTalk.com, I'm Meghan Payton. NFL Week 9 Sunday Night Football. The Tennessee Titans head to Arrowhead to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Both teams are 5-2. Honestly surprising. Titans 5 straight wins in a row, yet they seem very far off from the Chiefs in what they've been able to do offensively. Chiefs are number 1 in points per game. They're second in yards per game. The Titans are actually bottom of the league in almost every offensive stat except for their run game, which is due to Derrick Henry averaging over 100 yards per game, 219 yards for Derrick Henry last week against the Texans. Andy, I'll come to you first. I'm taking Henry under, whatever that prop line is. Kansas City is third in run defense. I expect this to be a little bit more difficult for Henry. What are you looking at for Titans versus Chiefs?
I certainly won't argue with you on that one. My shocking stat of the week that I discovered is that the Tennessee Titans have given up one rushing touchdown to running backs this season. That was to Saquon Barkley in week 1. So they have done a fantastic job of keeping running backs out of the end zone. Unfortunately, they have not done a very good job keeping quarterbacks throwing the ball into the end zone. They've given up 14 passing touchdowns this season, and they have not exactly faced a gauntlet of amazing quarterbacks. They faced Davis Mills. They got Matt Ryan twice, Carson Wentz. They did play Josh Allen early in the year, and Allen threw for 4 touchdowns. So when the lines come out, I am going to be all over Patrick Mahomes' TD passes. I'm hoping they put it at 2.5. Normally you see these touchdown pass lines at 1.5. Give me 2.5. I hope to get it at maybe plus money or pretty close to even. As soon as it comes out, I will be firing away on that, as I do not see the Chiefs attempting to rush the ball into the end zone. I look for a big game from Patrick Mahomes against a pretty bad secondary from the Tennessee Titans. So give me Mahomes over TD passes.
We're filming this on Wednesday. Quarterback Ryan Tannehill, questionable with an ankle injury. We got to see quarterback Malik Willis last week against the Texans. 6 of 10 passing attempts, 55 yards, 1 interception. Tony, how does this quarterback issue affect the way that you approach betting on Titans versus Chiefs?
Well, I think it's a mismatch if we don't get to see Tannehill, and he said on Wednesday limited participation, and it's going to be a pain tolerance thing for that ankle. And he's somebody who relies on his mobility, especially since that offensive line tends to allow a pass rush more often than not. I played against Malik Willis last week. He went 6 of 10 for 55 yards, so the premise was sound, but Derrick Henry was just too much for the Houston defense to handle. If Willis is here as the starter, I would think that this point spread tops 14, which is strange to say because the Titans are on a 5-game win streak. But you take that with a grain of salt based on who they played. They've beaten the Colts twice. The Commanders, probably the most impressive win. They started the streak with a win over the Raiders, who have won only twice all season, and then coming off that victory at Houston. So from that standpoint, I don't think that these teams match up on the same level. Kansas City coming off a bye, so Andy Reid has been in the lab, has probably some tricks up his sleeve, and the game before the bye, they hung 44 on the 49ers. So it's an offense that's clicking on all cylinders, has lots of weapons. Now they add Kadarius Toney to the mix. I think the Chiefs are a clear favorite here.
Sunday Night Football, the Titans take on the Chiefs. Chiefs 12.5-point favorites, 5-2 teams. We'll see if this Titans win streak ends in Arrowhead. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Tony. We appreciate all of your knowledge here at Wager Talk. More from them on WagerTalk.com, as well as on Twitter. The best stuff from them is always in their tweets. You've got at Bump Sports for Andy and at Mejia Dinero for Tony. I appreciate you both. And stay tuned on Wager Talk TV as we break down more NFL games for Week 9.